Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Debonair, I am Marcelo Swally. Wink. And linen suit Acho over there.
Wink at the camera?
I winked at the camera for the one fan that's out there think I'm still cute. What do you mean?
Calm down.
The camera's between us right now. Come on, Wayne Wonder. Let's go. Somebody, he's so cute.
I don't know the song.
You don't know that song?
No.
You just wearing this outfit? All right. Anyway, let's get back to our top story. Delivered by Pizza Hut. Order today at pizzahut.com. I don't know where his outfit, don't know who it is. Tom Brady's GOAT status was made with 6 Super Bowl wins in New England. The dynasty with Bill Belichick is known as the Patriot Way. But Brady went on to win a ring in his first season in Tampa and told Michael Strahan that he found an alternative for success. I love it. Brady said, when you're in one place for 20 years, you think that's the only way. And I think when you go to a different place, you realize, wow, there's another way that people do things. So Wayne Wonder, can the Patriot Way survive without Tom Brady?
Well, I am willing to die on this hill.
You gonna die, so is it gonna be a hill, flat land, where Simba was? I don't care where you die.
I am willing to
die
on this hill.
You're dying.
Yes, well, no, the Patriot Way can't survive without Tom Brady.
It can't?
It cannot. Tom Brady is the Patriot Way.
Trust your first instinct. You already went there to come back.
The Patriot Way, it left when Tom Brady left.
Oh,
I'm going to start. I got too much ammo here, but let me start with this.
I see.
In life and in sports, we have to give narratives a title. Okay? Right? Let's talk about football. Let's talk about a defense. If a defense gives up a lot of rushing yards, that defense is soft. Ain't nothing soft about 6'4", 300-pound grown man that can bench 450 pounds, squat 650 pounds.
Yes.
Ain't nothing soft about that.
Yes.
But if a defense is giving up a lot of rushing yards, now the narrative is created that they are soft.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, a narrative has been created that he can't win, or he can't win big games.
He can't win.
Now, his second playoff game against the Tennessee Titans, his defense gave up 195 rushing yards. They were never going to win that game, the Ravens, giving up 195 rushing yards to Derrick Henry. But because they lost, you have to create a title to fulfill a narrative. A title always has to be given to fulfill narratives. So
I like
the narrative for the Patriot Way was very simple.
What?
Winning. You don't get a title for nothing.
Okay.
So there had to be some reason that the Patriots had a dynasty, then took a break, then had another dynasty. So they called that the Patriot Way. But the Patriot Way only got a title because of the narrative of winning. Here's the kicker. The Patriots won when Tom Brady shows up, and then when Tom Brady leaves, they stop winning.
Did they?
You gave me a confused look. You at home might be raising an eyebrow, so let me break it down.
Break it down.
2000, Tom Brady not present as a starter. The Patriots are 5-11, don't make the playoffs. 2001, Tom Brady is present as a starter. The Patriots win a Super Bowl. 2007, the Patriots go 18-0. They lose the Super Bowl to the Giants. Y'all know this. I don't have to tell y'all that story.
Yeah.
But the next year, the Patriots go 11-5 and miss the playoffs because Tom Brady got hurt. 2019, the Patriots go 12-4, 11th straight playoff appearance. 2020, Tom Brady departs. The Patriots miss the playoffs. When Tom Brady shows up, the Patriots win exponentially. Okay. When Tom Brady departs, the Patriots do not win, at least not with the same degree of winning that they do when Tom Brady is there.
Okay.
The Patriot Way only exists because of the Patriots winning. If the Patriots do not win without Tom Brady, there's no such thing as a Patriot Way. Tom Brady was the way. Tom Brady is no longer there. Patriot Way can't survive without Brady because the Patriot Way doesn't exist without Brady.
Oh, my God. You done? You finished?
I'm finished.
Okay,
I'm
good,
done.
good. All right. First, let me clearly state for the record, yes, the Patriot Way will survive without Tom Brady. Not only will it survive, it will thrive without Tom Brady. That was clear. That was succinct. Let's get into the details. Let's deduce this intelligently because you want to talk about how narrative is applied to something after you see it. Duh. And that's the same thing that happened with the Patriots Way. Because I was there before the Patriot Way even existed, playing against this team twice a year, and there was no conversation of the Patriot Way. Despite them having success, I don't call this Patriot Way success, but this was a Super Bowl team like 5 years before Tom Brady showed up, right? They were in the Super Bowl, lost that Super Bowl. Then they lose in the divisional round. Then they lose in the wild card round. 3 playoff appearances, 1 Super Bowl appearance. Then 2 years without the playoffs. All of a sudden, bow, Tom Brady shows up and wins the Super Bowl. Not a damn conversation about the Patriot Way. Matter of fact, everybody Google right now, Patriot Way 2001, and see what comes up. blank screen, spinning wheel, nothing. So Patriot Way started to evolve. I don't even think it was after the first dynasty we started saying Patriot Way. And to me, I don't like to say two dynasties. I call them one dynasty because it happened within 20 years. And that's where I want to take you to, Acho. I don't want to argue with you. I love you too much. You know, we text each other here and there. We never see each other offset. Pandemic, I hope is the reason, but we're going to find out in a few months if that's really the reason. But this is a loaded question. It's insane that this question is a damn setup. Here, let me give it to you a different way, Acho. Need your eyes right now, homeboy. I'm looking cute. Acho, I ask you this. Will Coming to America Part 2 be better than Coming to America Part 1? Oh, yeah. But Arsenio or Eddie, I don't know. One or the other is not in Part 2. Will it be better than Part 1?
No, it can't be.
Well, damn it. That's a setup-ass question, right? And this was a setup question, too. Without the two things that made this marriage so perfect, you're going to take one away, and you took more than just one away. I'm going to leave that alone. All the COVIDs, all the retirements, et cetera, and players that just left, retired, et cetera. You're asking me, is Coming to America 2, without one of the major stars, is going to be better than Part 1? We know that answer, but now let's go into why I want to entertain this question, this conversation. What is the Patriot Way again? Is it 6 Super Bowls in 20 years? Oh, as defined by their success, it is. Is the Patriot Way meaning 14 years you don't win a Super Bowl? Oh, yes, it is. So is that also saying the Patriot Way basically is you're going to allow this question to be answered in 20 years? Because it took 20 years to even call this damn thing the Patriot Way in its fullness, but you don't have that patience. You have the 1 year patience of letting Tom Brady get off to a faster start without Belichick than Belichick did without Tom Brady. We are basically running two different races and having two different conversations. I am still talking about the marathon that existed to create the first Patriot Way, but you're now talking about the sprint that Tom Brady just ran in 1 year that is now redefining what you think the Patriot Way is. Make it make sense for me, Acho.
I love your take. And I love, that was hot.
It's your boy. It's your boy. Wait,
I love your take, and I love the movie aspect of it. So let me see your movie of Coming to America. Let me raise
one or
movie,
two.
Both, the concept. Okay. And let me raise this. I was recently watching the whole streak of trying to watch all the Avengers movies, right? And so I was watching Iron Man, and I was watching Iron Man 1, then Iron Man 2, I believe Iron Man 3. I think there are only 3 of them. But I was binge watching them, selling. Between one of the Iron Mans, a character gets replaced. Now, at first I'm watching Iron Man and I see Rhodey, I think is his name, I don't remember, but he's played by a light-skinned black dude, Terrence Howard. But then all of a sudden,
what you talking about, man?
You watch the next Iron Man and the character got the same title in the movie. He's still one of Iron Man's friends. I don't remember all the details of it because your boy got a lot going on in his head. But now it's no longer a light-skinned Terrence Howard. It's now played by a dark-skinned black dude, Don Cheadle. Same titles, but now you realize the importance of the character actually wasn't that important because I can change Terrence Howard to Don Cheadle and the movie's still going to be a box office hit.
Oh, you're going there.
Tom Brady changed the character of head coach from Bill Belichick to Bruce Arians, and it was still a box office hit. So a movie cell can actually do without a major actor if the actor isn't as major as you were led to believe. Now, I'm going to give y'all a quick history lesson because I had to figure out why did they change actors in the middle of the movie? Why would you change Iron Man's homeboy in the middle of the movie? And I saw this. Terrence Howard had agreed to collect $8 million to play his same character in Iron Man 2. But after the first Iron Man, which the lead character, forget his name, Downing, which Robert Downing Jr., he did it on a cheat because, remember, he was coming off his scandals. After Iron Man 1 was a hit, they said, wait a second. You're not as important, Terrence Howard Jr., as you think you are. So we're not paying you the same amount of money. We'll just replace you with somebody else. Tom Brady said, wait a second. Bill Belichick, you're not as important to my success as you think you are. So I'm just going to replace you with somebody else. And guess what? Box office hit. Super Bowl. So, yes, I am, in fact, asking you, can you still deduce Tom Brady's greatness or the Patriot Way without a major character? Because all I am submitting to you all is this. Is Bill Belichick Robert Downey Jr. or is Bill Belichick Terrence Howard? I know this much.
What?
Robert Downey Jr. was in all the Iron Mans, and they were still hits. Tom Brady, he been in all the movies, and they still hits. Bill Belichick hasn't, Coach.
Throw in the towel! No, I didn't know he was. Oh. No, you ever think you want to fight and then you just raise from the dead? Undertaker. That was the best counterpunch I've ever taken in all these years of doing this.
You gonna fight back now?
You know me. I don't fight in real life, but I fight at this desk. I ain't gonna quit right now. Okay. One, stop watching Iron Man. Stop watching Avengers. You, Marvel, stop. I know you. Everything you think of and want to do, it actually happens. So stop. Bachelor was enough. Okay, stay your ass here. Okay, two, that's a good point. That second on Live, on the same. Fresh Prince, hey, that ain't on. Okay, I get you there. Here's the problem with what you're saying right now is box office is not the only measurement. You're giving me receipts, which is the ticket sales. Okay, that doesn't mean it's the same movie. That doesn't mean it's as good. Patriot Way is not just about winning Super Bowls. We got to admit that, because if it was, y'all won 6 out of 20. Like, that's not a great win percentage, except it's measured by everyone else's, right? So in a relative experience, let's talk about everyone else. Number 2, and I don't even want to say number 2 because they have the same amount of championships, Super Bowl championships at least, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, so there's Patriot Way, New England Patriots, 6 Super Bowls in 20 years. And then there's the Pittsburgh Steelers, 6 Super Bowls, but not in 20 years. You got to go back to when I was born, in the 70s, when they won 4 out of 6, and then they waited 26 years later. But who is sitting there laughing at the Pittsburgh Steelers as a franchise? Who's looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers like they're less than the New England Patriots? Are you? I am not, in totality. So I look at it like this. Are we measuring the Patriot Way by its own measurement of 20 years of 6 Super Bowls greatness? If so, Acho, I don't know how long we're going to work here, but we got about 19 more years before we can answer that. Or we're going to base it on what others have done. Wow. You mean that 26 years can go between Super Bowl championships and Super Bowl championship and still think of that as a top franchise? So all I'm asking you more so is, can the Patriots still go out there and win games? Absolutely. They were 1 game under 500 last year with a JV team. Then, if they can win, to what level, to what receipts does the winning necessitate? Because if it's 14 times don't win a Super Bowl and 6 times figure it out, I'm going to start putting my money on Bill Belichick, only for one reason. I know Tom Brady got him 1-0. Belichick could outlast and will outlast Tom Brady if he so desires.
Fair.
So he can run the race that Tom Brady can't. Tom Brady is sprinting, and so far, so great. But when he finally says that's enough, Belichick can look at those receipts and say, let's keep production open while I try to catch and surpass just that.
Okay, I'm with you there, but rock with me here, and I think you'll like this because what I've learned about you is you go against the grain.
Yeah.
You don't care what everybody else is saying. You're going to think for yourself. You're going to speak for yourself. You're going to go against the grain. So let me allow you all to open your aperture of understanding and rock with me here.
Okay.
So I was thinking about Harvard, and I was thinking about Facebook and the creation there. And I was thinking about this, that Mark Zuckerberg, he gets all the fame, top 5 richest men in the world, because he created Facebook. But there were 2 brothers, the Winklevoss brothers, if I'm not mistaken, who actually submit that, they had this idea first, but Zuckerberg got there first.
Okay.
What I submit is this, that Bill Belichick got to Tom Brady. His biggest accomplishment is in drafting Tom Brady and realizing, and at least to a degree, developing the potential of Tom Brady. But what I won't be so lazy as to do is to give all the credit, or even 51% of the credit, to Bill Belichick over Tom Brady, and here's why. Big dog, if Brady went to Bruce Arians and won a Super Bowl in 1 year, who is to say that with another head coach, Tom Brady wouldn't have more Super Bowls in 19 years? He has 6 in 19. And to us, that's the most astonishing thing because we've never seen it accomplished. We've never seen a quarterback play till he's 44. We've never seen a quarterback win 7 rings. Not at this level.
Right.
So all I'm saying is very simply, I'm not going to take the lazy narrative of, man, Bill Belichick, it's all him, or even 51% him. No. Like Zuckerberg got to Facebook first and became a billionaire, and we all esteem Zuckerberg as one of the greatest minds in our generation, Bill Belichick got to Brady first. But what if somebody else would have got to Brady? Because Bruce Arians showed us he got to a Brady who's worse than all the other Bradys by physical attributes. We know that a 44-year-old quarterback has deteriorated physically from a 25, 26, 27-year-old quarterback. So Bruce Arians got a physically worse, albeit more intelligent, but physically worse quarterback and went 1-for-1. So I can't deduce that another coach having Tom Brady wouldn't be able to win 6 out of 19. Is it a far-fetched idea?
No,
sure.
no.
But is Tom Brady a far-fetched athlete? Absolutely.
I'm walking stride to stride with you right there. Like, I don't want to be limited into the fact that only the things that we've seen are the only things that can be done.
Yes, that's all I'm saying.
I'm with you there. Yep. I'm with you there. However, come with me here.
Okay.
What the hell is the standard of the Patriot Way? That's the toughest thing to define. So if we can't even properly define it, what is the standard? I told you it can't be against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is 1A to 1B to the New England Patriots. Can the standard be that there are 12 teams that have never even won a Super Bowl? Can the standard be where there are 4 teams that never even appeared in the Super Bowl? What is the standard? That they're in the playoffs more times than they're not? Until we can just define purely what that standard is, then to me, the Patriot Way is you're putting yourself in position to always win. And not even more times than not, you win it all. You just find a way to win more than others.
Then let's go here.
What's the definition?
If the definition, as you define it, is you're putting yourself in position to win. Because that's fair, at minimum. I think that's the lowest bar of the Patriot Way.
Yeah.
Right? I think the highest bar is you're winning 1 Super Bowl every 10 years, 6 years, whatever, based upon their 6 and 20.
Because the Colts did this with Peyton Manning in position every year.
Correct. And so I think the bar is higher.
Okay.
But if we're going to keep the bar at putting yourself in position to win, without Tom Brady in 2000, before he was a starter, they didn't make the playoffs. Not a position to win. Without
the year before.
Sure.
Okay.
But without Tom Brady, they didn't make the playoffs.
Okay.
2008, without Tom Brady, they didn't make the playoffs because Tom Brady tore his ACL.
They won 11 games.
Sure, but you're not in a position to win if you don't make the playoffs. You know that.
We're going to do this?
We have to.
We're going to do this?
We have to.
Okay, play
You're
with the
making
words.
me do this.
11 games,
2008, they didn't make the playoffs.
All right, Cleveland didn't make the playoffs this year either then.
2020, they didn't make the playoffs. The only way you win is by making the playoff. You can't win the lotto unless you buy a ticket. You can't win a Super Bowl unless you make the playoffs. So at a bare minimum, if the Patriot Way is putting yourselves in positions to win, the Patriot Way does not exist without Tom Brady. Because without Tom Brady in the last 20 years, they've never been in a position to win. With Tom Brady in the last 20 years, they've always been in a position to win.
Hey, here's the problem with that. One, we've only got 1 year without Tom Brady to understand this.
Gave you 3.
Without Tom Brady, he was there for 1 year of that, but he got hurt in the first game. And 11 games, call it what you want. Look, that's on the judges right there. But to me, that one counts as a winning, putting yourself in position with a backup quarterback. But here's the thing. You're asking basically for the Patriots in totality to set a world record again. You're asking this team, this franchise, I should say, okay, you did this in 20 years, 6 championships. That guy is gone. He's off the relay, whatever it may be. Now, set another world record without that guy. Okay, he went out there and he did his part with a different team. And let's talk about how he did it. He cherry-picked. Tom Brady sat there as a free agent. He went to Venice Beach and sat there for 2 hours and watched all the teams get run. And he was like, ooh, that's the best team. They ain't got off the court yet. And then one of them dudes got a text. I got to go, dog. I'm playing with y'all. And then he just kept running. Because that team right there was a 7-9 team quarterback away. They had defense. They had 2 1,000-yard receivers. They had a winning coaching staff. All they needed was Tom Brady. And I'm not trying to minimize what Tom Brady did. I'm just saying, you asking Usain Bolt to go out there and give you that 9.58 again? You asking Flojo to give you that 10.49 one more time? It's kind of messed up, big dog. I don't know what the standard is. All I know is that was a fun conversation. Coming up, Zeke wants to eat next season. So we'll tell you if the Cowboys offense still needs to run through him. But first, Warren Moon thinks the Russell Wilson-Seahawks marriage will end in divorce. We'll tell you how much Russ is at fault. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Boy, you took the place.
Welcome back. Russell Wilson's future in Seattle. Ooh, it's still up in the air after a recent report said trade talks are not dead yet. Now, this news does not fall in line with Russ's teammate Carlos Dunlap, who said the quarterback told him he's with us and he's here to stay. But Hall of Famer Warren Moon still sees a breakup in their future. Y'all take a listen.
There's all these little squabbles going on right now, and I think because of Russell's contract situation, there's not a whole lot the Seahawks can do as far as moving him somewhere else, even if they wanted to. But I think that the marriage is not going to end very well going down the road. I think this squabble is going to turn into more of a separation and then a divorce at some point.
Separation and then a divorce. You don't say those words on this desk. I know you don't say those words in your household.
Shoot, every other Wednesday. Anna Marie.
All right, Sal. How much is Russell Wilson at fault for the issues with the Seahawks?
He's totally at fault for us discussing the issues of the Seahawks. You see where I'm going? Hey, Russ. The only person you should tell all your business to is the person you got into the argument with. Like, that's the only person you should tell your business to. Because everybody else is going to be looking at you sideways. Imagine me and you got into a beef, and then I had to bring in somebody else in it. Let's say Chris Healy. Oh, Jets fan, him. Healy, guess what Acho said to me? You know what now? Every time Healy looking at Acho, Acho looking like a Healy, and Healy like, man, I heard this dude. But then all Healy is looking at you for is like, just keep going with your takes, keep doing the show, and you sitting there, and I'm sitting there with a different knowledge. We on different lanes, different wavelengths. Okay. Russell Wilson has created that because he told everybody the business. Hey, Russell, I saw the police over there last night. Everything okay? Oh, no, everything. Shut your trap. Why did you go to that extent to tell all your business? But in terms of him actually being the cause of all these issues, there's three sides to every story. Russell's side, Seahawks side, and the truth. And right now, we wouldn't even be sitting here in conjecture and guesswork trying to figure out what side Russell Wilson is truly portraying. Is he portraying just Russ or the truth? Because we wouldn't know. So I put a lot of this on Russell Wilson and the lack of leadership he has shown in this moment. This got here because of Russell Wilson. Simple as that. Now, this is why you don't clear the decks and get rid of all your veterans. This is the exact example why you don't do that in a team sport and in any situation. You always need checks and balances. Why? Because things get out of balance if somebody ain't there to check you. And you want to hear it again?
Is that a Wileyism?
I mean, it was a little too long. Me and Heller discussed it. But, you know, basically, it's poetic as hell. But you always need checks and balances because if things get out of balance, somebody needs to be there to check you. And Richard Sherman was there. Marshawn Lynch was there. Those guys were there. And if you notice through even this firestorm, Walter Jones is in the building, but he ain't. He just telling you, I ain't scared of Russ. You know what else? We could talk about Michael, what's the fullback name?
Mike Robb.
Mike Robb, my bad. I love you. Former teammates is like, Russ, calm your butt down.
Fair.
But no one else really has that kind of cachet or think they do, so that Russell is running through unscathed. But I'm sitting here testifying right now that most of these issues are Russell Wilson constructed issues. And more so than that, we wouldn't even have any understanding or knowledge of these issues if Russell Wilson was a better leader in this moment.
That's fair.
No, that's
what
real.
You see here, what you say here, let it stay here when you leave here. Right? That was a quote in our locker room in Texas. What you see here, what you say here, let it stay here when you leave here, right? Don't let nothing outside these doors.
Were y'all ever on sanction?
Not when I was. So I'm with you on that. Like Russell Wilson, you can't air out the dirty laundry. However, Russell Wilson ain't at fault for these issues, big dog. What has Russell Wilson ever requested? All he ever said was, I want to be more involved because at the end of the day, it's your legacy. That's all Russ ever said. America, Sal, me, y'all. All he ever said was, I want to be more involved. Sal, if claiming a desire to be more involved in a team is problematic, then I don't know what peace is. You the star quarterback. You want to be more involved? What Russell Wilson asked for was noble. What Russell Wilson asked for was intelligent. Sal, let me give it to you in my own experience, because my experience is what?
Your expertise.
That's my expertise. Sal, I was in a relationship in the past, and I said, hey, I want you to be my best friend.
First of all, what's your first word? A?
It was A.
It ain't going well.
It's A. I told the young man, I said, look, I want you to be my best friend, right? Like, I want you to not only be a partner, but also be my best friend, right? I assume you and Anna Marie, y'all are best friends as well. Y'all aren't just...
We say it, but...
yeah, fine. It don't matter as long as you say it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, I said that. She was like, nah, man, I'm too busy. I was like, okay, hurt me a little bit, but I understood. You're busy at the time. You got a lot on your plate. Then months later down the line, wait a second. I want to be your best friend. I want that role too. Because she later realized that the request was actually wise. that the request was actually in the best interest of the relationship. A partner should not only be a partner, erotic partner, but likely a phileo partner, right?
Oh,
like
you're going to
brotherly love, you feel me? And also the sensual parts of it as well.
Yes.
Russell Wilson, your quarterback shouldn't just be your quarterback on the field, but he should also try to be the head coach. They call him a field general for a reason. You want coaches outside of the white lines, and you want coaches
Why the lines gotta be white?
inside of the white lines. No segregation.
Hey, in this era, this climate, I guarantee you next season the line's gonna be black.
At least straight. So look, Russell Wilson made a noble request.
Man,
Sal.
that ain't noble.
I'm not going to say that his fault. It's his fault that they got issues. The Seahawks gonna look up one day and be like, dang, I wish we had somebody that wanted to be more involved in the offense, that wanted to be more involved in our success.
Wow, you really gonna say that and hope it lands on everyone's heart like you intended it to? First of all, erotic, it's your lady. I would have looked at you too. Nah, we ain't gonna be best friends. All you want to talk about is eroticism. Here we go. Somebody sits here and wants to say, I want to be more involved. I want to be more involved. You know what my pushback is?
What's that?
Just be better in the things you're already involved in, okay? Because you act like you maximize all your involvement in the things you're already limited in involvement in. Russell Wilson, we give you the ball every single play. You in the center, and he doesn't count. You get the ball every play. How much more involved you want to be? Oh, you want to skip past your decision-making issues and just go to, I just want to throw it more. We're like, no, when you have the ball, how about you throw it more effectively, more efficiently, and take what they give you? Russell Wilson, first half of the season, was enamored with the deep ball. For good reason. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, they were slicing cats. Historical record pace, right? And then defenses adjusted. That's what we do. When we're sitting there, when we get our film study, it's usually 4 games back, right?
Yes, sir.
So around week 5, we got all that we need. And then our defensive coordinator comes in there, belly all out. Hey, guys, spitting sunflower seeds on the floor. Hey, guys, check this out. I don't know why these teams ain't running this on them. And you sitting there getting juiced up for Wednesday practice like, oh, we going to hit them with something different, right? And then you see them on Sunday, and you say, now, I don't know if I should trust Big Belly Coach, but he did call the play. Let's run this defense. We're going to shut it down back there and make them just methodically go up and down the field. What does Russell Wilson do with his more involved self? I want to continue to force it down there. No. I'm not going to take what they give. Patrick Mahomes found this out in the Super Bowl as well. And he didn't believe his eyes that were telling him the truth. Take what they're giving you, Russell. That's how you become more involved. You become greater at what you're involved in already. But Russell didn't want it that way. You know why? Because Russell went Hollywood, man. He went MVP vote hood. He got to get his MVP votes. And that's why all of this is hitting the fan right now. He went to the Super Bowl and realized, oh, I'm not Patrick Mahomes. Oh, I'm not Tom Brady, but I'm Russell Wilson. And let me tell you, as an LA resident, what Hollywood really means. You just want to be fresh. You want to be on. You want to be seen all the time. But Russell, you're not going to be seen in the light as Patrick Mahomes, and you're not going to be seen in the light of Tom Brady if you don't take what is given to you. Stop asking for more and just do better with what you got.
That's fair. I like it. I like it. But at the same breath, if you're Russell Wilson, let's all be Russell Wilson for a second. You look at Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, first-round pick of running back last year, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You look at Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, 1,000-yard receiver, Mike Evans, 1,000-yard receiver, Antonio Brown, future Hall of Famer, Rob Gronkowski, future Hall of Famer. Then you look at yourself. He got 2, but you say, wait a second, how did I get here? How did I become Russell Wilson? I became Russell Wilson with Doug Baldwin, an undrafted receiver out of Stanford who overachieved, in large part because of me who threw him the football. Doug Baldwin ends up making multiple Pro Bowls, has an 8 or 9 year career. I got here with my top 5 receivers being named Jermaine Kearse, another undrafted receiver who overachieved. And he overachieved in large part because of me, Russell Wilson. I'm here now because of Tyler Lockett, a 3rd-round receiver out of Kansas State that was looked at as a gadget special teams guy, a punt returner, kick returner. But he had a 200-yard game. He just signed a $69 million extension in large part because of me, Russell Wilson. Y'all go look it up, 2014, 15, 16. Look at who the leading receivers were for Russell Wilson. Doug Baldwin at number 1. Jermaine Kearse was number 2. Then when Tyler Lockett gets into the league, it's Baldwin and Tyler Lockett. Russell Wilson's like, hey, I'm making all these dudes. I'm making lemonade out of what was once lemons. But furthermore, the crux of the issue for me, Sal, and I'll end it here, is this. Russell Wilson ain't asking for nothing out the ordinary. Star players across all sports make desires and their desires are met. LeBron James, he plays with Dwayne Wade, not in Miami. He plays with Dwayne Wade in Cleveland. D. Wade could barely get up and down the court at that point in time. But he plays with his homeboy in Cleveland because what LeBron James, a star player, wants, LeBron James, a star player, gets. Okay, let's talk Tom Brady. Gets Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski was working at Fox last year.
Yeah.
Now he's a tight end for the Buccaneers because what Tom Brady wants to be reunited with his former teammate, Tom Brady gets. Russell Wilson is a star player. Is he LeBron James? No, I ain't going to say all that. Is he even Tom Brady? I ain't going to say that. But we know this. What star players want in sports in general, star players get. All Russ wants is to be involved in secondary. He wants Antonio Brown. He can't get either.
Acho, I know you from Texas and you live in L.A. and you live in the life right now. Let me find out you Hollywood, too. Oh, because you're making a lot of excuses for this other Hollywood brother. Oh, let's talk how I was raised. Even though I'm from L.A., I'm from Hollywood. I don't act it. No, sirree, Bob. I act more like a Tom Brady. Even though I don't have all of the resume and accolades, I still have that mindset where I ain't going to complain about nothing. If it is to be, it is up to me. Here's the remix. If it is to be good, it's up to me. If it is to be bad, oh, don't look at me, mirror. Oh, it's still on me. Yes, sir. Tom Brady's mindset. I didn't hear the complaints like this. Tom Brady didn't blame his offensive line. Tom Brady didn't blame his receivers, even though his receivers were. Who made Tom Brady, as you want to say? Because you're talking about it for Russell Wilson. Troy Brown. Remember Troy Brown? Mm-hmm. Beast. 8th rounder. Remember Wes Welker? What round did he draft? Oh, he wasn't. Got cut. San Diego Chargers. Went to Miami. Came to New England. Tom Brady said, don't complain. Don't go Hollywood. I got you. Julian Edelman. What round? No, damn. Okay.
I remember Randy Moss, too, though.
What? One. Really? They already have won 3 Super Bowls. Don't you do that. How many they win with Randy? My point. Here's the thing. You can't be Hollywood like this. You can't deflect. I can't look at you, Acho, if the show is not doing well, which it is. But if it wasn't, I can't be like, Acho, it's on Wiley,
Let me ask you this.
Big dog.
I have one question before you get us to break. Stell, is this.
Okay.
Tom Brady, he did what I do in relationships. He don't complain about the issue publicly. He just sits there quietly, grasps the understanding, grasps the knowledge, and then he dips. Russell Wilson, he's letting the Seahawks know, hey, there's an issue.
Okay.
There's an issue.
I respect that.
There's an issue. There's an issue. Tom Brady ain't say nothing. He was just quiet. I'm gone. Russ is taking a different approach. In all honesty, for the sake of their relationship, I honestly like Russ's approach better. He's trying to mend the relationship before he dips.
Yeah.
Tom Brady just said, I'm gone.
Well, it took Tom Brady 20 years. I mean, everything runs its course.
Sure.
But Russell Wilson in the house, in this relationship, Pete Carroll sitting there like, hey, Russ, what's the problem? And then instead of Russell Wilson just explaining that, he run outside. It's a problem, y'all. And then Pete Carroll sitting there like, dog, we can talk this out. Russ, get to your senses, brother. Come on. Coming up, the 49ers have a big choice to make with the 3rd pick. We'll tell you if it's a make-or-break draft for Kyle Shanahan now. This is going to be fun. Next, don't speak for yourself. Stay out the street.
For the first time ever, it's a WrestleMania edition of SmackDown. Friday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
The 49ers made the big trade for the 3rd pick in the draft, and multiple reports say they are picking quarterback who? Mac Jones. Kyle Shanahan is known for offense, but this is expected to be the first quarterback his squad selects in the 1st round since he became head coach after passing on names like Patrick Mahomes back in 2017. So, Acho, is this a make or break NFL draft for Kyle Shanahan?
It absolutely is, big dog. Sometimes, well, let's start with the saying. Let's start with the saying. A wise man learns from others' mistakes.
I am not
a fool learns from his own. No,
I heard a fool just now.
A fool learns from his own mistakes, while a wise man learns from the mistakes of others.
Yes.
Kyle Shanahan, he ain't got to start looking for all these other people's mistakes. What a mistakes at? What a mistakes at? What a mistake? No.
Where they at?
Just look at the mistakes of his pops. Mike.
Oh, you brought
Shanahan.
Papa?
Mike Shanahan, 2012, trades a couple first-round picks. No big deal, just a couple first-round picks to draft a quarterback at number 2 behind Andrew Luck. A quarterback by the name of Robert Griffin. We come out to draft together. We played against each other in college. Robert Griffin was a phenom.
Yeah.
Mike Shanahan drafts Robert Griffin, Rookie of the year, he balled.
Yep.
But then he gets hurt. They go 13-3, Robert Griffin's second year. And before you know it, Kirk Cousins is starting. By the third year of Robert Griffin's season, Kirk Cousins was the fourth-round pick of the Washington football team. The same year Robert Griffin was the first-round pick. Mike Shanahan, he was out of there shortly thereafter.
Gotta go.
Kyle Shanahan, you do not have to search far and wide. You don't have to search high and low. You don't have to search left and right. Just search at your pops. Just search at your pops, and you will very quickly realize if you make a mistake at the quarterback position in the draft with first-round picks or early picks, it's over for you. Now, because I don't just want to keep it familially, I'll talk large scale as well. Ryan Pace, general manager for the Bears. He makes a trade, a little move up, go get Mitch Trubisky. He's been hanging on by a thread ever since. Lastly, let me hit near and dear to my heart, Doug Peterson, Philadelphia Eagles. Whoever made the decision, collectively the decision was made. You draft Jalen Hurts in the second round. And before you know it, Doug Peterson, who's actually won a Super Bowl, not been like Kyle Shanahan. Doug Peterson has won a Super Bowl. All of a sudden, Doug Peterson is out. I'm going to end my first lap like this. Marcellus Wiley has educated me a good amount on the show about a large topic of things. But what you said is this, Sel.
What?
You say that coaches build up equity.
Yes, they do.
Coaches build up equity. So when you have equity, you can afford to make some negligent decisions because you've built up equity. Here's the problem. First-round picks at quarterback can be zero multipliers. It doesn't matter how much equity a coach has built. If you mess up that first-round quarterback position, you're multiplying by zero. And in math, like you know, when you multiply by zero, the equals will always end up at zero. I don't care how large the digit is beforehand. As soon as you multiply by zero, the answer is going to be zero. So Kyle Shanahan, he got some equity, big dog. He got a lot of it. Went to a Super Bowl with Jimmy G. But as soon as you mess up, if you mess up that quarterback position, that's a zero multiplier.
Yeah.
And just like that, he out of there. It's a make or break draft.
Oh, man, I love that take so much, but I disagree with the summation. It's not make or break for him. You know what's interesting, too? More than multiplying by a zero, which would take you to zero, which is not the worst thing, because if you multiply by a negative, yo, life's over. You can have a million positives times 0.000001, that's a negative. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. We're seeing that in our sports world as well. Here we go. Why I disagree with you is because he's in a protected space of love. And it's interesting that your take was my take, but then your conclusion wasn't my conclusion. I watched you last week when I wasn't here. Remember, I watched you. It was on the big board doing the Wheel of Fortune and all that. It was amazing. It looked enormous. It looked big. And I remember one line that stood out to me. You said, Kyle Shanahan, you know how you speak with your hands and repeat everything. Kyle Shanahan is a genius. Kyle Shanahan, I say, is a genius. I was like, Now turn it back on. I need the ratings. But the point is, Nacho, that was fast. Okay, he is in that space that others have echoed as you. He's a genius. I hear it all the time. I'm like, genius at what? Offensive coordinator? Okay, I'm not going to argue that, even though do most geniuses lose Super Bowls because of their play calling? Because that happened to him. Oh, the transition. No, he's a genius play caller as a head coach. With this is his record, 29-35 as a fourth-year head coach with only one winning season. And that one winning season is all because of Jimmy G. Because this team can't find its way without Jimmy G. Now, Jimmy G can't find his way and stay healthy, but when healthy, Jimmy G is the reason why there is a resurgence in 49ers football. So why Kyle Shanahan stays in this protected space? Like, to me, I'm looking at his job security, and it should be in the hospital on life support. It's not, big dog. It's in this protected space. It's on tour at See's Candies, getting flowers and love everywhere. Genius, genius, genius. A losing head coach who has some question marks as an offensive coordinator, despite inflating some guys, obviously, in terms of their resume. But Kyle Shanahan is not anywhere near a hot seat. So whatever happens with this decision, remember, he's sitting there, and you have a situation where they are in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They are a team that has equity. They are a team that's not going to just rip it all apart just because of last year's injuries and this year a potential draft pick not hitting in year one. He's not in a make-or-break situation. Jimmy G's going to play this year. Mac Jones, whoever they draft, is going to be in a position where they watch. How does this make or break?
Because, Sal, I think we have to fast forward our trains of thought.
Okay.
We have to honestly exclude the term hot seat from NFL anymore because I don't think the hot seat exists. Let's talk life. We've said this before. Back in the Gap, y'all, if you wanted to heat up some food, there was no oven. There was no microwave. Even prior to the Bunsen burner, you got to go grab some logs, start a fire, and you had to cook the food like such. But then came the Bunsen burner, and then came the stoves, and now we have a microwave, and things get cooked faster.
Oh, yeah.
In the NFL this day and age, bro, what we've realized is quarterbacks and head coaches, there aren't hot seats. You get struck by lightning.
Oh.
Because when you get struck by lightning, you don't realize it's coming. Even the microwave, as fast as it cooks, you still know it's cooking, and you hear the beep, and it's done. Bro, Doug Peterson, he got struck by lightning.
Yeah, that's fact.
He didn't know he was about to get fired. I ain't know. And you know I'm plugged into that locker room.
That's real.
You ain't know. You got some dudes plugged into that locker room. Doug Peterson was like, oh, going about my merry way, going into One NovaCare Way, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, checking into work every day. Everything's good. All of a sudden, boom, struck by lightning. Jared Goff. You know he ain't know. Super Bowl 2 years ago. They made the playoffs 3 out of 4 years. He's hurt this year. It ain't even his fault. He comes back in from injury against the Seattle Seahawks, a team they shouldn't have beat. He didn't take any starting reps all week because he had a jacked up thumb, leads his team to a victory over the Seahawks. Oh, I'm Gucci. At least I'm safe for another season. Next thing you know, February rolls around, March rolls around, Jared Goff struck by lightning. So I don't know if Kyle Shanahan has to anticipate a hot seat. I think if he messes up this draft, he gonna get struck by lightning for all the reasons you said. 4-12 record, 6-10 record, 3-13 record, or 13-3 record, 6-10 record. He's a losing head coach. You can't be a losing head coach in this day and age of the NFL and expect to not get struck by lightning. That lightning strike gonna come.
I love the lightning strike because that's real. That is the evolution of this game in terms of job security. You're right. They're not mutually exclusive, though. Like, there's some cats sitting there like, oh, I need this year. You can look at Matt Nagy. Let's just talk about that. You need this year, big dog. Let's just be real about that. It won't be lightning for him because we already see the heat underneath him in terms of his job security. Man, Kyle Shanahan. This one perturbs me a little bit because I only like things that are merit-based. I don't give a damn. I don't want to hear about what my daddy was. So, like my son, he better go get it. Now, daddy's here as a safety net, but you better walk that high wire, brother. And Kyle Shanahan, I don't know if he's walking the high wire like everyone is advertising. His record as a head coach, I repeat, he has a losing overall record. With Jimmy G starting, 22-8. Okay, when there's no Jimmy G, he has any other quarterback as an option. 7 wins, 27 losses. Come on, big dog. I thought he was a genius. You said that last week on Wheel of Fortune. Okay, let's talk about this situation. 49ers have finished last in the division twice and third once in 4 seasons with Kyle Shanahan. They have only made the playoffs once in the 4 seasons, and they've been bottom half of the league in points per game in 3 of the 4 seasons. Genius? You talking about lightning? Forget lightning. Let's start up with the hot seat right now because this is a situation where Kyle Shanahan should be under that microscope in that hot seat. But it just seems like a lot of people out there are protecting him for other reasons.
So let me ask you this. You're saying Kyle Shanahan is safe in large part because if he was in danger, he would already been out.
Look, if you read all this, if you've been watching, other than the fact that you're like, well, they're hurt. Well, injuries is not enough of an excuse or a reason. If you look at this team, you start to realize they're putting it all on Jimmy G, like, well, Jimmy G must be the issue. We get a different quarterback, we gonna fix it. I told some people this a long time ago when I used to work at another network and I used to talk on radio, that I watched and witnessed coaches drafting quarterbacks when they were on the hot seat. Jeff Fisher came to mind. They draft a quarterback. You know why they do that? Because it gives them runway. It gives them a little more tarmac to say, hey, well, we need a little more room. We got this youngster here that needs this genius to help coach him this year, correct? Or going forward. I think this is one of those maneuvers, man, because if you've been looking at the evidence and the resume to this point as a head coach, Kyle Shanahan should be on that hot seat. Coming up, Lamar Jackson is up for a big payday. I mean, huge. We'll tell you how the Ravens should approach their quarterback's long-term extension. That's next on Speak for Yourself. You're watching Speak for Yourself. Marcel Swally, Emmanuel Acho in the linen suit, y'all. Let's head to Baltimore. Those are those colors. Where Lamar Jackson is eligible for a new contract and is expected to break the bank. The former MVP rushed for over 1,000 yards for the second straight season, but that could be an issue in negotiations. Hall of Famer Kurt Warner said, quote, "You're probably not going to give Lamar Jackson a 10-year contract like Patrick Mahomes because you don't know what the wear and tear is." So, Acho, how should the Ravens approach Lamar's contract extension?
Approach the contract extension with caution. But I think all large-scale quarterback contract extensions should be approached with caution.
Yeah.
Large-scale contract extensions are honestly a necessary evil in the game of football. Well, I'm going to say something that's going to sound very anti-player. Y'all know I'm pro-player, but it's going to sound it. Y'all remember back before the new collective bargaining agreement? If at home, let me break it down for you. Before the new collective bargaining agreement, there was not a cap on rookie pay. So quarterbacks like Sam Bradford, the number 1 overall pick, he signed a $75 million contract. And then all of a sudden, some of the vets were like, hey, why are you paying Sam Bradford $75 million? And by all intents and purposes in NFL metrics, he's sorry. And so there had to be a cap put on that. Before that, that was just kind of the necessary evil. It was a way of doing life. You pay rookie first-round picks a lot of money. Then people wised up and was like, wait, what are we doing that for?
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, the NFL hasn't wised up, nor will they, nor should they. But realistically, top 5 quarterbacks as far as money. Carson Wentz, he got a huge deal. Eagles probably regret that in the aftermath of paying him. Definitely.
Okay.
Regret that.
Okay, yeah.
Jared Goff, he got a huge deal. The Rams obviously regret that because they moved on from him. Who else is top 5? Aaron Rodgers. Packers don't regret that. But then who else do we have? You have Kirk Cousins, top 5. Vikings got to regret that. I don't know what they got to show for it. A playoff win against the Saints. And then you have whoever it is. I think Patrick Mahomes now, obviously, he's up there, whatever the case may be. With all of that being said, of the top 5 quarterbacks making the most money, 3 of them definitely regret it. Vikings, Rams, Eagles. That's Cousins. That's Goff. That's Wentz. Russell Wilson, you don't regret it if you're the Seahawks.
No.
And Aaron Rodgers, you don't regret that. So 3 of the 5 you regret. You have to proceed with caution, not because you're worried about Lamar Jackson. I'll get there, though, but because you got to be cautious of paying quarterbacks big money because it doesn't ever really work out as often as you'd like.
Disagree with that take right there, even though you made me think for a second. And I was like, nah, because I don't know what standard to apply to paying a quarterback if you can't give Lamar Jackson, without caution, all he deserves. You know how much money Lamar Jackson should get from the Ravens? I'll tell you like this. Approach him exactly with the appropriate offer that he's earned, which is going to be astronomical. There's only another human being, one person walking this planet that was a unanimous MVP like that guy Lamar Jackson is. And since he's the only one of 2, let's put him up there at least in the top 2. Now, I'm not talking about Patrick Mahomes' contract. That was a bad contract. I don't like it. It was too damn long. People are already lapping him. Dak Prescott going to get 3 contracts while Patrick Mahomes still on that 1. And boy, is he going to double, if not triple him in terms of money. So I don't want to play that game. I want to play this game of Lamar Jackson, how much? Because don't forget, you must walk up to Lamar Jackson. Matter of fact, let's walk up to Lamar Jackson. I just saw him the other day. Got a picture with him. Check this out. I want to see Lamar Jackson right there. Kodak Black, right there. And the capologist gonna jump in that frame right there and say, Lamar, I squat down with you too, big dog. How much, homie? How much? Because that guy right there saved this damn franchise, resuscitated him. Acho, you know what John Harbaugh was gonna be doing if he still had to go with Joe Flacco that year? Not coaching for the Baltimore Ravens. It was a wrap for John Harbaugh in that situation. He resuscitated this organization, saved John Harbaugh's job, not only became a unanimous MVP, led the league in passing touchdowns. More importantly, since he's taken over as the starter, the Ravens have the best regular season record in the NFL, number 1 scoring offense. I wonder how and I wonder why. Because of one guy. Now, he's in a situation where he must grow and Greg Roman must evolve. But that other than that, which is not a part of this negotiation fully, because you can always address the passing game, the passing scheme, offensive coordinator. But where are you going to find another Lamar Jackson? I'll ask you, because there's only been one walking this planet in this capacity, and maybe none in terms of his skill set when you add up his mobility and his arm talent.
I like that.
You know you do.
But we have to talk at this, because you said something that's going to pivot us real quick.
Uh-oh.
There's a difference between what you earned and what you're worth.
Yeah. But when you can spend it, and if you've earned it, what's stopping you? What's the caution?
The caution is this. Lamar Jackson, I think, has earned every penny. Like, if we're being real, Lamar Jackson may have earned just a hair under Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, yeah.
Like
Now we cooking.
one hair.
With grease.
Lamar Jackson is 30-7. Patrick Mahomes is like 32-8, or so, like somehow has a slightly better record than Lamar Jackson.
38-8.
38-8,
Yep.
like a slightly better record than Lamar Jackson. Like Lamar Jackson, unanimous MVP. Patrick Mahomes, just an MVP. Like, Lamar Jackson has earned just a hair under.
Super Bowl is the only,
But the kicker is, what is Lamar Jackson worth? And there's a dichotomy there. There is a rub between what Lamar has earned and what he's worth. Because if you're the Ravens, Sal, you looking like, okay now. Now, we won a Super Bowl. It was a while ago. It was 2012, but we won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco on a rookie deal. Now, Joe Flacco, he took us through the grave now for a little bit, and Lamar resuscitated us, but, like, it ain't like we ain't won a Super Bowl in the last 10 years.
We doing that?
I'm the Ravens. You said this.
Yeah.
The Ravens are
The
going
Ravens are doing that?
Yes, because they're going to negotiate.
Who's saying that? Who's saying that? John Harbaugh?
Whoever wants to will say.
Who? He saved all of them.
We just won a Super Bowl. Now, like, Lamar Jackson is a dude, but what's the frame of his greatness? I'll put it to you like this. I'm going to look at the past to try to understand the future. And I'm going to look at some of the other incredible dual-threat quarterbacks in the history of the NFL and look at when their prime moments came. That's what the Ravens have to do. So they're probably going to look at guys like Cam Newton, who's an incredible quarterback, won an MVP, went to a Super Bowl. Look at guys like Mike Vick, incredible quarterback. Look at a guy like Robert Griffin, had an incredible rookie year. And they're going to look at him, and I'll let you look at him. Robert Griffin's greatest success came his rookie season. Mike Vick's greatest success, the conference title appearance, came his fourth season. Cam Newton's greatest success came his fifth season. It may be sheer coincidence. It is plausible that these incredible dual-threat quarterbacks, they all peaked with their fifth season or before. Or it may be that defenders like you and I learn how to adjust. Defensive coordinators, minds like yours and I, know how to adjust. It may be that we know the body physically deteriorates before the mind deteriorates. And so when you're talking about some of the greatest dual-threat quarterbacks, Cam Newton, who was great, Mike Vick, who was great, Robert Griffin, who his rookie year was great. Y'all watch the tape if y'all doubt these words. It may be that, these quarterbacks now, they deteriorate a little bit more because anatomically, kinesiology, all that tells you this is not my opinion. So I say, Ravens, Lamar Jackson has earned it all. Make no mistake about it. He's earned it. But the Ravens are looking like, man, is he worth it? And that, I think, is the rub.
I'm not a fan of you right now because I didn't know that you were going to buy into this. Why you buy into this?
What I do, Sal, what I do, man. What I do.
You penalizing dual threats. Like,
I'm not.
Yes, you.
I'm not. Their game has done so, not me. Their game.
You say they put themselves in harm's way more. That's what you're basically saying. Yeah, okay, you're insinuating that. Okay, here we go. Statues, the contrast of this, conversely, you look at it, if dual threats are penalized, because you gave me the stats on Mike Vick, Cam Newton, et cetera, then statues are being incentivized or statues are being properly rewarded. Unfair. Because I don't see Lamar Jackson missing games. What did he miss? One game in college? That's the only time I remember. Yeah. But let's talk about those statues. Tom Brady missed the whole damn season. Statue. He's still durable. Let's talk about Peyton Manning. How many neck surgeries? Missed the whole year. Like, come on now. Like, we can't get into look, if I'm going to be the agent of Lamar Jackson, as soon as I start hearing this hazard pay, I'm going to be like, hey, bro, I see more statues go down. How did we even get to a Tom Brady? Drew Bledsoe.
Statue. Wait.
Come on.
Because
I got a long list of statues
If you want to
getting
go through your list in All-America, we can go through Robert Griffin's list. His injuries in less time, far more extensive than Tom
That
Brady.
was a misplay of that situation. And I told in the moment,
went out of bounds.
Mike
He should have slid. He should have
Mike
done
Shanahan shouldn't have put it back in.
Sure.
Chalk it up
I'm
one
not going to
year.
say Cam Newton. He has missed more games than Tom Brady based upon injury.
Yes.
Tom Brady's
Okay.
played 20 years.
I'll give you that.
Mike Vick.
Okay.
He has missed more games based upon a lot of things, but injuries as well. So if you want to go there,
Vic.
Marcellus,
But that's the point. We shouldn't be able to have this.
told me.
We shouldn't be able to do this.
You told me before the season Dak Prescott ain't missed now one game, Macho. Stop telling me about the NFL injuries. He ain't missed a game. How'd he get hurt this year?
Huh?
How'd he get hurt this year?
Is he a dual threat?
How'd he get hurt this year?
I want my question answered first.
How did he get hurt this year?
He got hurt running.
He got hurt running the football on a called running play. I will never in my life wish ill on several men. Some I will, but on several men. I won't wish ill on Lamar Jackson. But if you are the Ravens, you looking like he's earned it all. Lamar Jackson has earned it all. But boy, man, Robert Griffin peaked his first year. Mike Vick peaked his fourth year.
You gonna say that about Patrick Mahomes?
His fifth year. They're different players.
What do you mean? Is he a dual threat or is he a statue? I mean, is there another category? Like, I don't know, because Alex Smith, he was...
Really, there is, though. Let's talk ball.
Let's talk ball.
There is, right? Like, there is statuesque quarterbacks.
Yes.
Tom Brady.
Can't get out the way.
Can't get out the pocket. There are, I would say, off-rhythm quarterbacks, right? Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers.
So he's not mobile? They're not mobile?
Russell Wilson, right? Like, but then I would say there are quarterbacks who, like, hey, they're going to call probably 6 to 8 designed runs a game.
Okay, I feel you.
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Like, Cam Newton. You're going to see 6 to 8 designed runs a game.
Where's Dak fall?
Robert, in a Russell Wilson category. They're not calling 6 to 8. Robert Griffin, Mike Vick, Cam Newton, they all, if you want to build that separate category, which I feel you, we should, they all in that, we call in 6 to 10 designed runs a game. All I'm saying is for them quarterbacks who get them designed runs, they just happen to get hurt. It may be coincidence. It may be. I'm not going to
Wow. You basically just told me if Fox puts you out there on a show in segments that they are saying may hurt you going forward, then when it's time for negotiations, they actually use the segments and the shows they put you in and say, well, this is the reason why we can't pay you all you want. You sitting there arguing for that. Are you kidding me? If the Ravens try that, Kodak Black, where you at, Kodak? You know what to do. This boy deserves his money. I don't want to hear nothing about no hazard pay. Coming up, Jason Tatum was ranked the 5th best NBA player under 25. We'll tell you our biggest issues with this list next on Speak for Yourself.
Let's head to the NBA, because ESPN released their top 25 players under 25 years old based on their future potential. Now, Luka is 5th in the league in scoring and is ranked number 1. Zion follows at number 2. And rookie LaMelo Ball beat out several All-Stars for the 3rd spot. Y'all got to make this make sense. Here's the top 10. You got Spidey Mitchell. That's that dude, Donovan Mitchell. You got Jason Tatum. You got Ben Simmons. You got Devin Booker. They've all been named to All-Star game multiple times. But they are all looking up at LaMelo in the rankings. Now, I got to bring in my dog, Chris Broussard, NBA analyst, because I was confused. I'm sure he was at least as well. Can't wait to find out his biggest gripe. But Marcellus, you up first. What's your biggest issue with the NBA's best under 25 ranking?
Well, my first issue is who the hell wrote this list? And did they watch a lot of basketball or just a little? Because, man, don't believe the hype. All these guys are tremendous to even be on this list. So let me first give them their flowers, give them their roses. That said, I got a problem with the order, y'all, especially when we start getting into the top 10. My biggest gripe, though, is Jason Tatum at number 5. What the hell? Now, LaMelo Ball is amazing, and y'all know me. I have supported the Triple B brand. I got me some damn LaMelos. I got all the shoes. But why is LaMelo up there higher than Jason Tatum when LaMelo Ball only started 21 of his 41 games before getting hurt? And then his plus-minus was a -40 for the season, and he played fewer minutes than the other guys in the top 5. So when I look at my man Jason Tatum, who has some all-time NBA numbers, only 8 players in NBA history to average 25, 6, and 4 in a season, and he's going to be one of those guys. What the hell is he not higher on this list? And especially, why isn't he higher than the great LaMelo Ball, but still developing, and we need to see more from that same LaMelo Ball? At least put him in a position where he's higher than LaMelo Ball. And then I won't have such an issue. But there are other issues here, but I'm going to let y'all go after it.
So my biggest issue is that this list, it only furthers a micro issue that the NBA already has. They overvalue potential instead of actually play. Like the NBA, they keep looking at potential. What do I mean by that? Zion, let's just talk about him first. Zion, we already know Zion goes crazy. We know what he has the ability to do. But we also know that he's played 69 out of a possible 122 games, playing 57% of the games. LaMelo Ball, I believe he's going to end up playing 41 out of a plausible 72 games this year. That's 57% of the games. So the top two of the top three players on this list is primarily predicated upon their potential. But can we look at what some dudes have actually done? I'm going to start and sprinkle a little Jason Tatum before I really get to my point.
There you go.
Jason Tatum, let me just sprinkle a little bit of that. He's played 315 out of a plausible 332 games. That's 95%. The first grade that you get in class, regardless of your educational level, is attendance. Y'all already know this. Middle school, high school, and even in college, attendance already counts for about 10% of your grade. Just show up. Zion has showed up 57% of the time. LaMelo Ball on track to show up 57% of the time. Jason Tatum shows up. At least the first grade you're going to get is an A because he shows up 95% of the time. But I think my biggest gripe is really with Jamal Murray being a 13th. He gets slept on because, again, if we're going to talk about potential, I got to talk about reality. And Jamal Murray last year, what was he? The first player to score 3 straight 40-plus point games in a series since Michael Jordan in '93. First player ever to score 40 points in 3 elimination games in the playoffs. Now, let's talk about what Jamal Murray did in the playoffs, because the playoffs are actually more meaningful ball than Zion's ever played, clearly more meaningful ball than LaMelo's ever played. And if we being real, more meaningful ball than Luka's played, because Luka's only ever played in one playoff series against the Clippers, a team that he didn't beat, not his fault of his own. You saw Luka ball and go crazy. But Jamal Murray, first round against the Jazz last year in the playoffs, averaged 31, 6, and 5. Second round, the semis against the vaunted Clippers. You ain't supposed to beat the Clippers. Clippers supposed to win it all. He averaged 22, 6, and 4, including scoring 40 points in that closeout game, elimination game. Came back from down 3-1, if I'm not mistaken. Then against the Lakers, obviously they were outmatched, outhandled, but he still gave you 25 and 7. So my two biggest gripes are, number one, the fundamental issue of overvaluing potential, and number two, give credit where it's due to players that have actually played in meaningful games. Jason Tatum, 2 Eastern Conference Finals. Jamal Murray, y'all saw what he did last year.
Brothers.
Talk to me, CB.
Did you read the headline?
Talk to me, CB.
It said it's the top 25 players under 25 based on future potential. That's what it's saying. It's not based on what you've done already. It is based on projections. Acho, I guarantee you, if it was top 25 players under 25, LaMelo Ball's not in the top 10. I bet the same writers, the same analysts that put this list together would have a different list. I'll give you that. But it was based on future projections. And with that being the case, Luka's number one either way. Okay? I got no problem with Zion at 2. No. And I'm going to be honest, when I first saw the list, not knowing it was future potential, I said, what? LaMelo at 3? But then understanding that, I've got no issue with LaMelo at 3, and here's why. LaMelo Ball as a starter in Charlotte, 21 games, nice sample size for a rookie. 19 points, 6 dimes, 6 rebounds, 46% shooting, that's nice, on 42.5% shooting from 3. That's phenomenal. And Charlotte was 11 and 10 in those 21 games. So they were winning with him as the starter. You know how many 19-year-olds have done that? 1. And his name is LeBron James. Kevin Garnett wasn't this good in the NBA at 19. Kobe Bryant wasn't this good in the NBA at 19. Tracy McGrady, we can go on and on. LeBron and LaMelo have done this type of damage as 19-year-olds. So I'm cool with that. My main problems is De'Aaron Fox is too high at 6. All right, he can't shoot the 3. and he really doesn't even shoot free throws that well. He should be lower. I think they completely disrespected Trae Young and Ja Morant. Ja is 15, Trae is 16. They act like Trae Young's not averaging 25 and 9 assists for the 4th seed in the East. I don't get that. I know Nate McMillan's a big part of their success, but Trae Young is still balling and Atlanta is winning. And then Ja Morant, with not much help around him, had Memphis in the 9th seed in the West last year as a rookie, in the 8th seed right now in the West with Memphis. So I thought they totally disrespected those two, but I'm fine with Melo.
Here's my thing, CB. The problem is, big dog, when we talk about potential, all we ever want to do is this. How many points can they score? How many boards do they get? How many dimes do they drop? That's not what constitutes greatness. The best ability, CB, you know this. You've probably said it before, at least you've heard it before. The best ability is availability. So if I'm going to start talking about things that constitute potential, can we factor in health? Because if we were to factor in just straight talent, we never would have mentioned, we would completely change Derrick Rose's trajectory. Let's talk about Brandon Roy. We don't talk about him very often because injuries derailed him. But that's another dude that was en route to being a superstar, if not for injuries. If we're talking about potential, CB, then at least we got to look at everything. I'm not just going to sit here and look at the James Harden statistics of how many points can you score, can you light up a box sheet. That's not what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is say this. Wait a second. If I'm talking potential, I got to factor in that Zion's only played 57% of the games. If I'm talking potential, I got to factor in LaMelo's sample size is so small that am I really going to compare LaMelo's 41-game sample size to Jason Tatum's 355-game sample size, including what we've seen Jason Tatum do in conference championship? Am I talking potential? Then at least let me use things that factor in a greater sample size. So I'm with you, CB, on that operative word of potential. But are we just going to ignore the fact that, like, Luka, we still trying to figure out if and when he going to play defense. Now, he is still a bona fide number one, no doubt about that. But, CB, I'm not going to ignore all the factors that make a guy a top-flight guy when talking about potential, because health got to be the first one. And we still not even sure if Zion going to stay healthy. And LaMelo Ball got a 41-game sample size that I can't assess compared to a dude that's played 350 games.
I can't give you that on LaMelo because his injury was a freak injury that could happen to anybody. Michael Jordan's second year, we know he missed all but like 17 games with an injury. It can happen, all right? But Zion, I'll give you. Zion is a concern. His durability, that's one of the major reasons he shouldn't be number one like some other people think he should, because his durability, we have no idea. I'm with you on that, Acho. And his game is not going to age as well as some of these other guys' games. If he loses his athleticism for whatever reason, whether it's just age and attrition or he gets hurt, he has a knee injury, and, you know, he comes back a different player, to your point, like Derrick Rose, he's done. I mean, he'll still be in the league, but he won't be dominating anybody because his game right now is all athleticism and being able to handle the ball some. So I'm with you on Zion in that regard, but I can't give you that on LaMelo just because that's a freak injury that can happen to anybody.
Yeah, I disagree with Acho, even though it's poetic to say the greatest ability is availability. You need a little more than just availability. So I can make an assessment, even though it's a small sample size, for LaMelo Ball. That said, he still shouldn't be 2 slots higher than Jason Tatum. Like, Jason Tatum, not only, this is what I have a problem with. I get the potential thing. I saw that. Is he as good as Jason Tatum now? No arguable. Is he that much better than Jason Tatum? Nobody's going to say that just yet. I don't care what you project out of him. You stop projecting the same kind of greatness out of Jason Tatum when he's already giving you such a tremendous resume already in his career. One of 5 players ever to tally what he has in rebounds, points, and assists at age 22. The other guys are Kevin Durant, T-Mac, Garnett, LeBron James. I mean, it's insane to say that. So projections is why we stay in the barbershop late, because everybody's going to have an argument. But the point of it is, I still don't see how you can have Jason Tatum at a 5 and then look at LaMelo in this short of a sample size with numbers that are not even better than Tatum's, 19-6-6 versus 25-7-4, and still say not only is he as good, but he's better than Jason Tatum. Makes no sense. Coming up, Russell Wilson is in Seattle right now, but we'll tell you if all the drama will be a distraction for the Seahawks. That's next on Speak Please. Let's head to Seattle, where the offseason drama with Russell Wilson is not going away. Hall of Famer Warren Moon said with Russ's contract situation, he thinks he'll definitely be there this year, but he went on to say, quote, I think the marriage is not going to end very well going down the road, and he sees a divorce at some point. And Acho, will the Russell Wilson drama be a distraction for the Seahawks?
Tell it will, man. It's simple, big dog. A house divided can't stand. There are so many quotes you can use to talk about this simple situation.
What if you had a roommate? That's a house divided. It can stand, right? My daughter's going to college. She just signed up. Got a roommate. She doesn't know her.
Okay, I didn't say a dorm room.
Okay.
A house.
Okay.
But no, I'm going to go back to my quote, which I love. I've told you before in case y'all missed it. It wasn't all of a sudden, it was subtle. You know what's coming. What ended up as a flood started out as a puddle. Right now, it's just a puddle in Seattle. And I've been telling y'all, right now, it's just a very simple little puddle. You look down at the ground, and there's a little bit of water there. You can jump over that. You can avoid that. Floods cannot be avoided. There's a little bit of turbulence in Seattle, and you might be thinking, that's not a big deal. It'll get right soon. Nah, it's going to be a distraction because if I'm looking at my leader and my leader is looking elsewhere, then I don't really know where to look.
Ooh, like that.
Everybody's looking at Russell Wilson, their leader. And Russell Wilson is looking at the money, looking a little bit at the fame, looking at the fact that his contract's not guaranteed. He's peering to the left. He wants a little bit more say-so. I'm looking at Russ, and Russ ain't looking where I thought he was supposed to be looking. So now we all confused. It's not that the blind is leading the blind, but it's more so that, like, the lost are leading the blind. Because Russ ain't blind, but he lost. He don't know his way. Am I trying to win a Super Bowl? Am I trying to win an MVP? I don't just want one vote. I want the whole thing. Am I trying to get guaranteed money in my contract? What exactly am I trying to do here? And so I do think it's going to be a distraction because the players for Seattle that are looking at the leader, they don't really know where to look.
Man, I love that. Look, this won't be an issue for it. First of all, if this will be an issue for the Seattle Seahawks, then they had no chance anyway of winning it all anyway. Because think about it. This is not great enough of an issue to stop you, to hinder you, to be adverse to what your goals are. Think about what's going on here. What's the quote again about floods and puddles?
It wasn't all of a sudden, it was subtle. What ended up as a flood started out as a puddle.
Okay. All I ask, as I've been listening to that author say that, wax poetically, is Russell really in a situation where it's raining? Is it really a flood? Or is he just pouring some water out when you're not watching? Or worse, he just left the water hose on. And everybody like, look at all this flooding. It's Russell, you are controlling the elements in this situation. Let's give it to you like this. When you are talking about Russell Wilson right now, he's what coaches used to say is embarrassed. Now, our coaches used to talk a little more profane than that. I don't know about this era of coaching now and all these microphones everywhere, but I played before all those microphones everywhere, or at least they didn't get out like that. When coach used to say embarrassed, he used to say embarrassed. And you know what that means? Naked. He's like, you just embarrassed because everybody saw you for real for who you are. That's what that red dot is. That's what that clicker shows. You're embarrassed. Russell Wilson went to that Super Bowl looking with Sierra, looking with Roger Goodell, and got embarrassed. So what happens is when you're embarrassed, coaches used to say, you always want to look somewhere else. You always want to deflect. You always want to put some clothes on. So guess what Russell Wilson started doing when he was embarrassed? Offensive line. I ain't got no running game. Pete Carroll don't believe in me. Schottenheimer won't let me cook. He got to go. Like, he tried to put on his clothes and get fully clothed in that moment because he was embarrassed. Bruh, that deflection ain't going to work. These veterans on this team are going to have to stand up. They're talking about Richard Sherman, I don't know what the hell. But the point is, Mike Robb, Walter Jones, others, Warren Moon, they're all talking about, like, look, Russell Wilson, whatever you're trying to conjure up in your head is the greatest issue in the world, it's not that damn serious. It may not end well, but you still got enough runway with the receiving core that you have, with the running game that you have, and the defense can pick it up, as they did second part of the season, to make something happen. But it's going to start with the captain. It's going to start with you, Russ. Got to bring in Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. So, Greg, will the Russell Wilson drama be a distraction for the Seahawks?
No, it won't. It will not be a distraction because Russell Wilson won't allow it to be a distraction. Yes, he created it. Like you said, he left the water hose on, if you will, to create the puddle that could potentially, as Acho put it so eloquently, turn into a flood. But Russell Wilson, he now has turned the water off. When you're starting to get reached out to by your teammates and your colleagues saying, are you in? Because if you're in, I'm in. And Russell was saying yes. Now he has to own up to that. He has to now cease fire. There is no fire. Like, he wanted out potentially, and he got the trade offer from the Chicago Bears and from probably some others, and it was denied. And so no harm, no foul. You tried, it was out. Now you have to move on. Russell Wilson is all about business. We've seen similar instances like this. Not so much that a quarterback is trying to get out, but that there were feuds, there was a little tension, there was a little discord. But the goal at hand was more important than what the issues were lying underneath. And at the end, and I'm talking about the New England Patriots with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Remember, oh man, they're feuding. Tom Brady is now he's a rebel. He's tweeting on Instagram and on Twitter, and he's doing everything. But ultimately, the goal was always most important. And once they get together in Seattle, that will be the most important thing. The main thing will be the main thing, and that's trying to win a championship.
All right, but G, you were in a place, you were on a team with Aaron Rodgers, who was clearly feuding at a time with head coach Mike McCarthy. He was in there saying he was changing the plays in the huddle, this, that, and the third. I'm hard-pressed to believe, but you can take me there, that y'all weren't sitting there not only reading the press clippings, but actually witnessing Aaron Rodgers roll his eyes, disregarding Mike McCarthy. And then all of a sudden, that started to seep into the minds of everybody else. If your fearless leader doesn't respect the authority, then you, a subordinate, doesn't have to respect the authority. But, G, you correct me if I'm wrong, because you walked in the shoes.
It wasn't that we didn't respect the authority, and I'm saying we because it wasn't just Aaron Rodgers. It was we didn't agree with everything the authority was promoting and was presenting. That's a difference. Like, we could respect that he was the head coach, and we were going to run the plays. We were going to execute. At the end of the day, that's our job. That's our livelihood, to execute the plays that are called, whether we agree with them or not. We can hate them. We can be disgruntled about them, but you better be dang sure I'm going to try to make it work. If it's coming to me and it's a potential, I'm going to try to get in the end zone, period. That's who we are as competitors. And so it's not going to be happy-go-lucky, everybody gets along, kumbaya. No, tension and strife and uncomfortable conversations, Acho, they lead to growth. They lead to growth.
Say it again, GJ. Man, look, what they say, you got to separate the signal from the noise. Like, this is just noise, dog. And if this stops you, you really weren't trying to start and do anything anyway. Like, stop, man. Let's go to the court of public opinion as former players. Y'all know where we have our courtroom every single day, the stretch line. And we sitting in that stretch line 50-something deep, everybody getting it. And if Russell Wilson is sitting there as the fearless leader, that all of a sudden is in his feelings, I'm letting him have that. Now, I understand the team dynamic. Some guys are like, look, I can't talk to Russell like that, or I won't be out here much longer. But there has to be guys on this team that step up and stand out and bring the noise to Russell Wilson. He just got caught in his own feelings. It's okay. We respect it. The only people really tripping on this conversation and noise is Russ's ego and his PR team. The rest of them dudes just want to go out there and ball out, and Russ is going to join them in that cause. Coming up, Mac Jones or Justin Fields? That's the question. 49ers have a big choice to make. We'll tell you who they should pick. Next on Speak for Yourself.
The 49ers have the third pick in the NFL draft after making a huge trade, and all signs say they're picking a quarterback. Now, multiple reports say it's going to be former Alabama quarterback Mac Jones, even though our guy, Bucky Brooks, said Jones should not be picked in the first round, while our own Joel Klatt has Justin Fields right behind Trevor Lawrence as the top quarterback in the draft. So, Marcellus, answer the question once and for all.
Yeah.
Should the 49ers draft Justin Fields over Mac Jones?
That's my only options.
That's it.
Don't draft either one of these.
They're drafting one.
Mac who? Jones. Look, if you're forcing me, just to get this paycheck, to answer this question, I'm going to say Mac Jones so he can sit and watch Jimmy G do what Jimmy G does, which is create magic when healthy. That said, if I have to look at these two prospects, For this situation, I prefer Mac Jones. Let me say, great Mac Jones, great Justin Fields. We did see him on the field at the same time, even though they wouldn't get to, ooh, that didn't go well. Justin Fields. Understood. Here's the thing. I'm looking at Mac Jones as a guy who can hit the short, intermediate passes, and then also has a microprocessor that is able to see what the defenses are giving him and dump and dart out there. I look at Justin Fields, and I see tremendous skill set, tremendous athletic ability on top of just the ability to play the quarterback position. But I don't always see that translate in terms of what he's seeing in the constructs and what he's able to do. So the maneuverability is lacking a little bit with Justin Fields as it is with Mac Jones. So for this situation, sitting on the bench, watching Jimmy G hopefully stay healthy and shine, I would prefer Mac Jones in that situation. If Jimmy G were to falter, I will go with a Mac Jones to be his successor more so than Justin Fields. But I know you don't agree with that.
Nah, I don't agree. I'm about to talk to you, but can I talk to America? Can I talk to the camera?
Okay.
Mac Jones is simply Jimmy G reincarnated. I'm going to say some things that y'all don't like, but boy, are they true. See, Jimmy G is a major beneficiary of scheme, Kyle Shanahan's scheme. Kyle Shanahan does a phenomenal job creating passing lanes, mismatching his offensive players on your defensive players to make sure Jimmy G wins. Mac Jones is a beneficiary of tremendous talent. Reminding you all, Mac Jones played with Jerry Jeudy at the end of last season, first-round pick. Henry Ruggs, first-round pick. Devontae Smith, first wide receiver to win the Heisman since Desmond Howard in early 1990s. And Jalen Waddle, about to be a top 10 or top 15 pick. Mac Jones is a beneficiary of scheme, while Jimmy G is Mac Jones is a beneficiary of talent, while Jimmy G is a beneficiary of scheme. I am not going to punish Mac Jones for being so, but I'm not going to praise him either. Let me bring my point to a head when we look at it like this. Mac Jones, Justin Fields. Let's look at the percentage of their yards that were after the catch.
There you go.
Mac Jones, 53% of your yards came after the catch this year, whereas only 33% of Justin Fields' yards came after the catch. That means, Mac Jones, your receivers were doing more of the work in padding your stats than you were? Justin Fields, you were doing a lot more work than Mac Jones was? Wait, Mac Jones, that's eerily similar to Jimmy G. Because Jimmy G, he leads the NFL in yards after catch. I'm not going to punish him, but I ain't going to praise him either. Mac Jones is simply Jimmy G reincarnate. If the 49ers are wise, draft Justin Fields. You already seen what Mac Jones can do. You got him in Jimmy G.
Oh, my God. Justin Fields, I don't want to punish either because they are playing at top schools with top talent, which also comes with you're playing against other top talent. I hate when we have that argument, oh, they're playing with the best and look who's on their team. Look who's on the other team. Like you playing
Vanderbilt, Tennessee.
No, I don't want to go through the whole schedule. Really? Didn't they play Clemson? How'd that turn out? Did they play Ohio State? How'd that go?
Here's what we know.
Oh! No.
You can't compare that Alabama talent. Those
I'm not comparing talent. I'm comparing him against other Alabama quarterbacks that we're trying to give him the reputation.
Tua was better. Tua was better with the same guys. Tua was better with the same dudes as Mac Jones.
Wait a minute. He lost one game over 2 seasons. We're talking about Mac Jones. We're talking about 80% completion rate. 464, 5 touchdowns, no interception in the national championship game. And you want to sit there. Historical. Look, no quarterback by record, by efficiency is better than Tua ever.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's not the standard. The standard is you're trying to give me this reputational bias. You're trying to say what Alabama always does at quarterback, and here he goes again. This ain't A.J. McCarron. This ain't A.J. McCarron.
Do not
but
do
it's
this.
Justin Fields, Dwayne Haskins. No, he ain't. So I'm not going to do that to either one. But if you make me pick, I'll go with Mac Jones because he did more pro-style things that could translate.
Rarely in life can we compare apples to apples. Rarely. Usually we got to compare
These are not apples to apples. They play each other.
Mac Jones and Tua is apples to apples.
So that's good.
If Tua played with the same lot of receivers and a not as good running back, a not as good Devontae Smith, and Tua was a better quarterback in college than Mac Jones with the same receivers, and we got cats already trying to replace Tua in the NFL, then why in God's name would a quarterback who wasn't as good as his predecessor with the exact same talent, maybe worse talent, why would we assume that he's going to be better?
First of all, you misspoke because somebody broke Alabama's single-season passing yards and FBS single-season completion percentage record last year, and his name wasn't Tua. His name was Mac Jones. Put some respect on him, so he may be better than Tua. To even more of my argument.
No.
Point being, ain't nobody yanking Mac Jones because he's going to be behind Jimmy G anyways. Coming up, Dak is back in Dallas, but we'll tell you if the Cowboys still need to run through Zeke. That's next. Don't speak for yourself. Ezekiel Elliott has 2 rushing titles on his resume, but he's coming off the fewest rushing yards in his career. The Dallas Morning News says the Cowboys' offense used to revolve around Zeke, but not anymore because, quote, Dak Prescott's development and the arrival of Mike McCarthy have shifted the emphasis to the passing game. So, Acho, does the Cowboys' offense still need to run through Ezekiel Elliott?
So, as a linebacker, as a defensive player, I want to say yes, right? Common knowledge says, you got to be able to run the ball so you can set up the passing game. That's the old statuesque ways in which the game of football are played.
Right.
Real talk, though, I don't think it does.
Okay.
I think in this day and age, you can pass the ball to set up the run. Why do I believe so? The reigning Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, that was last year. They go into week 1. They play in the Texans. Now, we all know Texans got Deshaun. He got a big deal. Mahomes got a big deal. But everybody's scared because Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, we not about to get beat by this passing game. I know that much. So what do you do as the Texans? Football 101. You keep your safeties high. You keep your corners at depth. You don't get beat deep. What happens? Clyde Edwards-Helaire, youngest player in NFL history to debut with 130-plus rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Youngest player in the history of the NFL. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a talented player. LSU player, first-round pick. Clearly has
Bowling
talent.
ball.
But is he 130 rushing yards in a debut talented? Not isolated. Okay. He was because defenses have to stop the pass first. Dak Prescott got $160 million. They ain't pay him to waste it now. You got Amari Cooper, $100 million. I ain't pay him to waste it.
Okay.
You got CeeDee Lamb, first-round pick last year for the Cowboys, wide receiver. You ain't draft him to waste him. You got Michael Gallup, another receiver capable of having 1,000 yards. You ain't got him to waste him now. I don't think that Zeke is as important as I know Zeke isn't as important as he used to be. Now, I'm not even convinced the offense needs to really feature Zeke or feed Zeke or run through Zeke at all.
No, they don't have to feature Zeke, but he can't be an afterthought. He has to be 1A to 1B. So complementary football is ideal, obviously. But you're right. The passing game is taking over to the point where it's senseless to go any other direction, including you, Baltimore Ravens. Get with it, because the passing game doesn't have to be always just throwing Hail Marys or throwing it 20-plus yards. It could be a long handoff.
True.
And that's what I love about the passing game. First of all, just the philosophy, the passing game is smarter. I played running back all the way to the pro level. So in college, I was a running back. Dog, to get 4 yards as a running back is almost somebody going to give you golf claps. Get 5 yards, somebody standing up with some loud applause. Get 6 yards. Who is that? 6 yards. Passing game. Go out there and just get 6 yards per catch. Who is that? There's the path of least resistance, which is the passing game. It's nobody between you. Throw the ball to there and let him go to there. It's just that simple. That said, let's stop exaggerating this Zeke decline. He's just descended from heaven. Because the dude, before last year in the injury to Dak, 4th in yards, 5th in touchdowns. And people were saying decline. Be careful of the words you choose. Coming up, Jalen Smith wants Tony Romo's number 9. We'll tell you if the NFL should change the rule on jersey numbers. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Speak for Yourself.
Cowboys linebacker and friend of the show, Jalen Smith, posted that he wants to switch his jersey to number 9, which was last worn by Tony Romo. Now, 5 years ago, Odell Beckham Jr. and Alvin Kamara are 2 more stars that could be in line for jersey changes as well. The NFL is expected to change the jersey number rule, which would allow players from more positions to wear single-digit numbers. So, Marcellus, should the NFL change the jersey number rule?
Hell yeah, they should have changed it 30-some years ago when I was playing, when I was a rookie. I remember walking into the equipment room and I was like, why can't I wear number 3, my favorite number, or number 5 that I wore in college? And they were like, hey, bro, it's just the way it is. And I was like, this country is not good when we say that's the way it is. We need to evolve. So I'm glad the NFL is evolving. God, I wish I could have worn number 3 coming around that corner.
So I'm with it, bro. The NFL has cost itself money, I think. I think they've cost stars. I'm convinced if Reggie Bush wore number 5 in the league, he would still be playing first off.
He would have
15,000 rushing yards, probably 12,000 receiving yards, probably 4 Super Bowl MVPs. Bruh, that number 5 on Reggie is crazy. Dog. I think the NFL should change the rule.
Dog, I would have really been the next Bruce Smith if I wore number 3. I would have lived up to it. I'm a top 5 Pop Warner all-star, like in a Hall of Fame of Pop Warner. But I lost my number. I lost my way. That's it for us. Fox Bet Live next.